Ladies and gentlemen, as the opposition, I strongly stand against the motion that this House would decriminalize victimless crime. While the term victimless might sound harmless, the reality of these crimes is much more complex. Crimes like drug use, prostitution, and online gambling might appear to only involve consenting adults, but the wider effects they cause on individuals, families, and communities are very real and very damaging. Let me begin by addressing a common assumption in this debate. Many people argue that most individuals who engage in these activities come from lower socioeconomic backgrounds and that punishing them is unfair. But I challenge that narrative. Not everyone who uses illegal drugs, online gambling, or engage in prostitution is from a poor background. In fact, many drug users come from wealthy families, and online gambling is often dominated by people from the middle or upper class. If we keep framing victimless crimes as something only the poor do, we're ignoring a huge part of the problem. Wealthy people have the resources to hide their crimes better or even avoid consequences entirely. So, decriminalizing these acts won't help create more loopholes for those with money and power. Next, let's talk about the idea of rehabilitation. Yes, I understand that rehabilitation is helping people better than punishing them. But I need to ask, is rehabilitation alone really works? We've tried a lot of programs, such as rehab centers, awareness campaigns, and etc. Yet, illegal drugs, use, prostitution, and online gambling still exist everywhere. So clearly, the problem isn't just about how we treat the user. Maybe it's time to think about why people still do these things, even there are options to get help. Decriminalization might have it easier to offer help, but it also risks sending the wrong message that these actions are now okay. Instead, we should be working to reduce demand and supply, not by decriminalizing, but by enforcing laws more fairly and targeting not just the fibers but also the suppliers and exploiters. This brings me to the function of prison, which means people which many people criticize without fully understanding its role. Prison is not only about punishment, it's about protecting society, creating consequences, and giving the state a way to intervene when someone's actions start to hurt themselves or even others. Saying something like, oh, they didn't hurt anyone directly, so let them go, is extremely dangerous. Because what about the long-term harm? Drug use can destroy families. Gambling can lead to death and mental illness. Prostitution can expose people to abuse and trafficking. We need to keep some legal structure in place to prevent these long-term harms before they grow worse. Prison, when used wisely, is a tool not just for fear, but for control, for safety, and yes, sometimes for rehabilitation. And let's not forget the real deal, the elite. Too often in debates like this, we hear speeches focused on helping the poor, like they act the only ones doing these things. But that's not true. In fact, when victimless crimes are committed by the upper class, they often face no consequences at all. Rich people gamble illegally behind closed doors, attend drugs-fueled parties, or run escort service disguised as entertainment business, and they get away with it. If we know decriminalize these acts entirely, we're only giving them even more freedom to exploit the systems while poor and vulnerable people still suffer. That's not justice, that's privilege. Instead of removing laws, let's fix how the laws are enforced. Make them equal, transparent, and firm. Make sure make sure rich people are held accountable to not just the poor. In conclusion, victimless crimes are not as harmless as they seem. Decriminalizing them sounds the wrong message to society, especially to youth like us. It tells people that personal freedom matters more than long-term safety. That's not the kind of future we want to live in. Let's not reduce the law's power to protect us just because enforcing it isn't perfect yet. Let's improve the system, not throw it away. With that, I strongly oppose the motion. Thank you.